All right. This evening, I'm going to speak about chasing operating awards. So I've been a ham a long time, and I like chasing awards. It's something I've done for a long time. These are some of the awards that I have. We'll talk about some of these. A lot of these are, whoops, hope I do it the right way. Yeah. These are DXCC awards, and speaking of the New England QSO Party, that's an award I got for that. 5BN DXCC, and I don't know, some other ones. Let's see. So what are operating awards? Well, they're earned for confirming two-way communications with another station or stations. They're sponsored by clubs or societies or national organizations like the League. The goal is basically to promote increased activity on the bands. Sponsors set the rules and the fees, and each award has a theme, like the Work All States Award having, you have to work all 50 states, obviously. Awards come in the form of a certificate or a plaque, and some of the popular awards allow the use of Logbook of the World. We'll talk about that later. So these are my top 10 reasons why people chase operating awards. Number 10, it improves our technical knowledge. Number 9, it improves our operating skills. Number 8, the certificates can cover the ugly walls of our shack. Number 7, it fosters a friendly competition among friends. I can vouch for that. Number 6, gives you something to do with those boxes of old QSL cards. I have about 20,000 QSL cards. A lot of boxes. Number 5, it increases activity on specific bands or modes. Number 4, because we like to collect things. Number 3, it provides a sense of accomplishment. Number 2, it helps us to better understand our station's strengths and weaknesses. You may be strong in one band, but you may be weak in another. So it'll give you an idea of what you need to improve on. And the number one reason why people chase operating awards is it's fun. Okay, so we're going to talk about some different awards. So the Work All States Award, the mixed award, the basic award, is acquired for confirming contacts in all 50 states, except for 60 meters. I don't know why they don't accept 60-meter contacts, but they don't. Could be any mode and almost any band. You can get endorsements for specific bands and specific modes, and they even have a 5-band Work All States Award for 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. I don't have that. In the upper right, this is my old Work All States Award from 1981. I say it's old. The endorsements fell off. The glue dried, and I can't find them. Here's a 160-meter Work All States Award. And lastly, contacts through repeaters are not allowed except for satellite. And all the contacts that you make have to be within 50 miles if it's different locations in the same state. So that's the Work All States Award. Oh, and you can use LOTW, Logbook of the World credits for the award, which makes it simple. Worked All Continents Award. So this is an award for confirming at least one contact with the stations in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Oceania. So again, you can't use 60 meters, but you can use any other band, any other mode. Endorsements are given for specific bands or modes similar to Worked All States. The International Amateur Radio Union sponsors the award, but the ARL administers it. So there's also a 5-band Worked All Continents Award. This is this and the Work All States Award is typically one of the first awards that people get. They're, relatively easy, or moderately challenging. Some of the other ones are not so easy. They'll take a while. DX Century Club. This is my favorite award. I've been doing this since 1982. This is my certificate that's has my little call sign, KA1DZB from 1982. So the award is given out for contacts confirmed with stations in at least 100 different entities. So you think to yourself, what's an entity? Well, it's a country, but not necessarily a country. It could be a geographical, a political or geographical separation. An example of this is like Hawaii. Hawaii may be in the U.S., but for DXCC purposes, it's a separate entity. So same thing with Alaska. Contacts can be made on any band or mode. Currently, there's 340 DXCC entities. And it seems like every once in a while they add one, they subtract one.
Who decides whether to add or
the DXCC committee? The league has a committee that, and there's rules that they go by. And I gotta say, and sometimes it feels like it's a little arbitrary, because you may have like a little bit of sand that's sticking out of the water, and they go, oh yeah, that's a new entity. And then somebody has to put together a big DXpedition that can barely fit on the entity.
Some of these certificates aren't valid for the walk in?
No, they're valid. Yeah, it's just 60 meters that, for whatever reason, none of these awards are valid for. The basic award is called the mixed award. That's any band, any mode. Endorsements are given for different bands and different modes. There's a 5-band DXCC award. That's my 5-band, and then I have endorsements for 160 meters and the work band. So that's, I guess, 10 bands, 6 meters and 160 in the 3 work bands. Again, a minimum of 100 countries there. There's a thing called the honor roll. So this is when you get to the level of 331 confirmed countries out of 340. And when you achieve that level, any country that you worked that is no longer a country, they call it a delete, it counts for your honor roll. So you may have, like I have 339 out of 340 entities, but like I have East Germany, so that counts, and probably a couple other ones. So so that's the honor roll. Again, contacts can't be made through repeaters except for the satellite endorsement, and they all need to be made from the same entity. So it's a really neat award. It's a long-term commitment. You do it for a long time.
Who monitors all that?
The ARL. They're the sponsor of the award.
How do they know when you connect to?
It's a written confirmation or an LOTW credit. So if I go to Bermuda and somebody wants confirmation from Bermuda, I'll send them a card. And if it's a DXpedition, that like when I go, I have to send my operating permit to the league, so they know that if somebody submits a card for that period of time, it's legit. So normally, like a common country, I don't think they worry about it. Like they just look it up on QRZ and go, yeah, it's good. But for some of these DXpeditions where they were there for 10 days or something, they have to submit paperwork, their permit basically, to the ARL. So it's a valid thing. If you just send a card in, it doesn't work.
Plus, did you notice that there's a new one to do the XTC awards? Or tried it?
I heard something about it, but I don't know much about it yet.
100 countries in CW.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's multiple modes. Interesting stuff. So that's that. Oh, and LOTW, Logbook of the World. You can also use credits for that. So keeping with the theme of DXCC, there's the DXCC Challenge Award. So think of this as like a checkerboard, where on one axis you have all the 340 countries, and on the other axis you have all the different bands. And as you work them, you're just checking them off. When you get 1,000 band points, 1,000 the combination of countries on these different bands, you can file for the DXCC Challenge Award. And they have endorsements for let's see, 1,500, 2,000, and 2,500. If you think about it, theoretically, if there's 340 countries and there's 10 bands that you can work them on, that's 3,400 band points. There are people that are over 3,000. Isn't that incredible? W1JR is one of them. He's in the area. I think he's at like 3,100 or something like that, or 31 and change. I'm a mere mortal at 2,650. So that's the challenge award. And the end of each year, the participant with the highest challenge points gets this cup on the right, the DeSoto Cup. So so there's different levels. There's DXCC and then there's the DXCC Challenge. I think the DXCC Challenge is interesting because for those people who've worked a whole bunch of countries, it keeps your interest because now you're trying to work all the countries on all the bands in order to get that award. So I've been doing this since 1982. Like I say, it's my favorite. Worked All Zones Award. I put this up here. I don't know if it's actually in existence anymore. So CQ Magazine administered the Worked All Zones Award. It was given out for making contacts with all 40 zones in the world. What's a CQ zone? They basically had broken up the world into 40 zones, and the contacts can be made on any band or mode. The awards, they also have specific band awards and mode awards. And the 5-band Worked All Zones Award, you don't actually have to have all of the zones, all of the, whatever, 200 zones. I think it was 185, and then they have endorsements beyond that. So that's mine. That's mine up there. But you know, with the demise of CQ Magazine, I'm not really sure if there's anybody administering the award anymore. But a really neat award. And while you can use Logbook of the World credits, like I say, I'm not sure if there's anybody actually administering the award, which is too bad. The VHF UHF Century Club. This is another neat award that I'm into. So so the award is given for confirmations with other stations and Maidenhead grid squares. So who doesn't know what a Maidenhead grid square is? A Maidenhead grid square is basically a square latitude by longitude, like we're in FN 42. The world is broken up into grid squares, and depending on the band that you operate, there's a minimum number of grid squares on 6 and 2 meters. It's 100 grids. 100 grids on 6 meters is really not that difficult because of the band openings that we have, the sporadic. 2 meters, it's really hard. I've been doing it for a long time now. I think I'm up to like, I don't know, 70 or 75 grids, most of which are because I operate meteor scatter. On the higher bands like 222, it's 50 grids, and 432 is 50 grids, and then it goes down from there. 25 grids for 902 and 1296, 10 for 2.3 gig, and 3.4 and above, it's 5. So like people will get on and do VOCC on 10 gigs, 10 gigahertz. Again, no crossband contacts except for satellite, no contacts through any repeaters. You can use LOTW credits for this award as well. Here's my 6 meter award. I just got an endorsement for 500 grids. Islands on the Air. This is an award that I've heard about for a long time, but I really haven't gotten involved in. This is one given out by the Radio Society of Great Britain. It's for contacting 100 islands on their list. It's what they call the Standard Award. Endorsements are given for subsequent 100 island submissions. They also have a VHF, UHF, and SWL awards. Sort of interesting. Each island has a unique identifier like NA005 for Bermuda, NA for North America, and 005 is the unique identifier for that island in North America. All contacts must be made from the same DXCC entity. And for more information, there's a link, the iotaworld.org website. Parks on the Air. I know John does a lot of work with Parks on the Air. Again, I haven't been involved with this award yet, but I think it's interesting. I might try it. So this award is given to both activators and hunters, and there's multiple award levels for stations who operate from the parks, activators, or communicate with those operating from parks, known as hunters. And so the basic award is given for 10 parks with endorsements for higher numbers. I think to do this, you've got to create a POTA account. Is that right, John? Yeah. And for more information, go to the Parks on the Air website right there. And they do use, I guess, LOTW credits. So that's what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they do their own.
Oh, okay. All right. So that may be an error.
Yeah, but if you want to generate wallpaper quickly, I'm on.
You speak from experience? Okay. How are you doing on your endorsements?
Oh, I'm not printing them out.
This is a unique award that I've heard about. Again, I don't participate in it, but apparently there's 3,077 counties in the United States, and there's an award given out for contacting 500 of those counties. It's sponsored by the Mobile Amateur Radio Awards Club. Sort of interesting because you don't need any QSLs because it's all online. I'm not sure how they police that, but
Oh, the honor system.
yeah. QRP awards. So a lot of the QRP awards sort of mimic the regular awards. Like they have the QRP All States Award, which I guess is similar to the Work All States Award. The QRP DX Award, which is a smaller version of like the DXCC Award. The QRP County Hunters Award, the All Continents Award, the Grid Square Award. I like this one, the 1,000 Mile Per Watt Award. That just sounds really interesting, you know. I have my little QRP radio. I thought to myself, geez, if I happen to make a really interesting long distance contact, I could file for that award. For more information, go to the QRPARCI.org website. Dennis, do you have any of these?
I do.
Which one?
The 1,000 mile per watt, which is pretty much what I look for. I'm not chasing work dog stations, but when it gets there, I check it off on the list.
Okay.
When you're looking for it, it's not there. But if it comes serendipitously, you say, hallelujah.
That's great.
Watts is pretty much
So your 1,000 watt award,
1,000 miles.
a 1,000 mile per watt award. So how many miles did you get?
How many miles?
Yeah.
You can get 1,000 miles.
No, but I mean, did you?
Well, if you went from the East Coast to the West Coast, there's your 1,000 miles. You've got about 3,000.
So did you operate with 1 watt there?
With 1 watt. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And if you can get, 8,000, or if you can work Australia, or if you can work India, you're
That's pretty good.
You're writing articles for Q Street.
I've worked Europe and Africa on 30 meters QRP, but not Australia.
Well, when I give my presentation, I'll go further into it, but QRP used to be 100 watts. And then people said, 100 watts is a little too much. So they dropped it down to 5 watts on CW.
Right.
It's 10 watts on the phone. And there are more and more CW radios on the market that are going like 12 watts, 15 watts. And they even have the Zygu 90, which is a China version of 20 watts. So what is QRP?
I guess it's a relative thing, isn't it?
If you can make use of it, you got it.
I used to always think QRP was anything 100 watts and under. But actually, I am doing real QRP these days. Anyway, that's the QRP awards. Here are some other awards. Does everybody know that NVARC has an award that they sponsor? The Workdall Massachusetts Counties Award. Yeah.
I given out 3 of them.
How many people didn't know that we had an award? Yeah. Worked all Massachusetts counties.
You have to show them the QSL.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yes.
There's the specimen, as they say. And this last one is really interesting. I like this one. So the Northeast Weak Signal Group sponsors a Worked All Bands Award. All amateur bands in the U.S. You got to make one contact on every amateur band in the U.S. And so these are the bands. There's 29 of them. And until 2,200 and 630 meters were allocations, my friend Brian here, Brian Justin, my good friend Brian, had, I think, one of the first awards. He's a microwave enthusiast. And then he, when they added 2,200 and 630 meters, he got the endorsement. So he's, I think there's only a handful of people that have got it. But these are a couple of words that you may not know about. All right, how to locate those rare stations and help increase your totals faster. So if you get into awards chasing, you're always trying to figure out how do I achieve my goal faster. So if you think about it, contests are a good way to do that. People are working everybody pretty quickly, so you can work stations faster that way. If you're into like the DXCC award, you may find contests like the CQ Worldwide DX contest or the ARL DX contest. There's a phone weekend and a CW weekend for both. It's actually a RIDI weekend for the CQ Worldwide DX contest, the CQ Worldwide RIDI contest. So those are good ways to increase your totals faster because you find stations on there that maybe aren't normally on there, but they're on there because of the contest. So, and they're listening. So, if you're into Worked All States, the ARL Sweepstakes contest is a good place to start. There's also a lot of state QSO parties. So, consider something like that. If you're into VUCC, consider the June or September VHF contest because there's a lot of activity. The June is a great time for sporadic e-propagation. And in September, you'll find some tropo openings. There's also the CQ Worldwide VHF contest. So those are a few that you might check into. And I would imagine that, if you're into the IOTA awards, the IOTA contest would be the thing to do. So those are ways to do it. Also, checking into nets might be helpful for Worked All States and county hunters. Also, consider making directed CQ calls. Sometimes I'll see this on FT8, like CQ Delaware, or Wyoming, or things like that. So consider something like that. Also, monitor packet spots because you'll see stations pop up that way. And also read DX bulletins to help identify upcoming operations. All right, on to Logbook of the World. Yes.
One thing I want to add to what you did is, if you haven't read the complete DX by Bob Walker, read it.
I have it. It's a great book.
I need to get the news edition, but he tells you, he holds a very piece up on the honor roll, and he tells you all kinds, and he's a good writer. He gives lots of anecdotes. If you read the operating manual, it's got a chapter in there that's written on, and that's how I first found out about it. It's working on it. I
wrote a series of articles for the Signal called DXer's Notebook. In one of them, I have just excerpts from his book and a cover of his book and where you can still get his book.
Well, you said I have the second edition. I want to get the third edition.
So I have the third.
Do you? Can I borrow it?
Sure.
Because it talks about a K2, which I just got.
Yeah, sure. All right, Logbook of the World. So this is a web-based confirmation service that you can use for award credits. It began in 2003. It has steadily grown in popularity. Some people love it, some people hate it. It replaces written confirmations, which can be slow and expensive. Users register with the league and are granted a call science certificate. The QSLs are encrypted and signed with an authorization key and uploaded to the service. It's very secure. Users can view their confirmed contacts and use the credits for many popular awards. I think a lot of the awards that I showed you are examples of that. There's more than 1.9 million contacts that have been uploaded so far. and 445,000 confirmations since it began. So really good work. If you're interested in getting involved in it, here's the URL to get you started. If you went to that URL, you would see this. This is that page. On the page, there'll be links for tutorials, how-tos, also the TQSL software that you download and install. You know, it's pretty easy to do. So to get started with TQSL, you download and install the software. You request your initial call sign certificate and LOTW password. The league will send you a postcard with an 8-digit password code. I always love that. And in response to you entering that code, the league will email you your LOTW password and call sign certificate. So you accept your call sign certificate, and then you define your station. So here I have my N1SV and my VP9 N1SV there. So every time I go to Bermuda, I have to get a new certificate. Not a big deal. I will say that if your certificate is about to expire, don't let it expire. It's easier to renew it than to start from scratch. What can you do on the LOTW website? Well, you can look up your QSOs and your confirmations. You can apply the credits toward an award. You can upload your signed log file. A lot of software packages have this built in, like HRD has it built in where, you know, if you have it set up, you just hit a button and like anything you've highlighted that hasn't been uploaded goes up there. You can also download stuff from there, so you can update your log. It's pretty easy. I don't know about some of the other software packages, but HRD is that way. You can view your statistics on your contacts and confirmations, and there's a lot of reference material for support. So if you're just getting into operating awards, I highly recommend doing it, because these days, what does it cost? Almost $2 to send a card overseas, and then a lot of times they're going to want, Europeans want like $3 to get a card back. I mean, if you're going to work DXCC, that's 100 countries. It starts to get pretty expensive. So LOTW is a cheap alternative and faster. Me and Dennis were talking about QSL cards before the meeting. When I was a Johnny novice, I would send out like 100 cards overseas, and I would get about 25 cards back. So not a very good percentage. Until I realized I had to send SASE and money, and you'll learn. Other options for confirming contacts. Well, there's the online QSL request service. So these operate by basically like PayPal. You send somebody money in PayPal to cover postage, and then you don't have to send them a card. If you don't want to, you can still do it. But if you want to save the cost of sending them a card, you send them a couple of bucks in PayPal with the information about like the contact details, and then he takes care of it. I do that for people. You can look up on QRZ.com, and a lot of times there'll be information about the QSL info for that station. They may say, you know, US, send me an SASE, international, send me a couple of bucks, or, you know, send me via the Bureau. Some people will also say that they have an OQRS. If you participate with Clublog is a website where you can upload your logs, and they do metrics and things like that. You can search other people's logs, and if you find that you've worked that station, there's usually an option on the Clublog website to be able to request a QSL. A lot of DXpeditions will use Clublog, and it's an easy way to do it. Check the DXpedition website for more information. Oh, Clublog, there's log searchers, so that's a neat thing. You'll see a list of like recent DXpeditions. You can check and see if you're in their log. If you're sending a card direct, typically in the US, it's customary to send an SASE. International, usually it's green stamps, as they say. dollars. But look up on the QRZ page of the station that you've worked in, and you'll find out. If it doesn't show, one thing I do is I'll send an email to the station and say, hey, what's the best way to do this? And lastly, there's always the QSL Bureau. This is for DX confirmations only. This is really slow. Like, it could take you years to confirm your contact. You know, I may not live long enough to confirm some of the contacts. But it is cheap, though. Lastly, I wanted to mention that I am a card checker, a field card checker for the league, volunteer one. So I can check cards for DXCC, VUCC, worked all states, worked all continents. I think that's all of them. When you go online to complete the form for the award, you just need to mark down, I want my cards field checked, and you put down, you know, my call sign, basically. So there's an online application for DXCC that you do that. There's also the paper copies for VUCC, WAS, and WAC. Same general idea, though. You mark down that you want to have them field checked. And the benefit there is that, you know, we'll make a date to get together, and I'll check your cards and give them right back to you. So they basically never leave your side. So this is helpful if you have some really rare cards that you want to have checked. Any questions? Okay, that's it. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Logging software.
Yep.
Now, I know N1MM3.
Yep.
Most it's for contests. What's a good one to
Like a general logging software.
download and logging? Just a basic, so you can keep
So there was
track of all the.
I don't know. I think I had an article recently in the Signal that talked about. Oh, maybe I didn't. I think maybe that's next month. If you go on the eham.net website under reviews,
Yep.
look for logging software. There'll be a mix of contesting and general logging software. It'll give you an idea of what's available. I can't really recommend any. I use Ham Radio Deluxe. It's okay. They all have their pros and cons. N1MM could be used for general logging. I mean, it's more of a contest logging software, though.
Okay.
I mean, what do other people use for general logging software?
DX Keeper.
DX Keeper, yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, DX Keeper, you can use that too. It'll interface with LOTW and the other service like even QRZ, and it'll keep your logs up to date.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I discovered a loophole. Anybody who's really interested in doing awards, there's a loophole. Some of the awards require that all your contacts be within a 50-mile circle, like Worked All States.
That's the Worked All States Award, yeah.
But some of them, you can be anywhere within a single entity.
Yeah, DXCC.
DXCC. I spent many of my ham years in Southern California, and I worked a bunch of Asian and Pacific countries that I've never worked again. Now I'm here, and I'm working countries in Europe and Africa, and I never worked in California. A lot of you guys go to Florida for the winter. So when you do that, take your radio with you. You work countries that are very hard to work from when you're in Massachusetts. It would be a lot easier to work from in Florida or Southern California.
That's true.
And that's the loophole.
I think that everybody knows about that as far as the leak. It's a loophole that they're not going to close.
So there's no statute of limitations on a QSL?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I would be still alive to claim the award.
to brag just a little bit,
That's the biggest statute there is.
I just checked my logbook of the world. I just got a QSL from S9Z, which is Principe Island of Africa. Been waiting for it for 2 years. Just showed up.
Oh, there you go. You finally uploaded.
Number 303.
Super. All right, thank you.